We've gone for an out-of-state event before that. Chair broke on my head. A fight was happening, and by the time they threw the plastic chair, it landed on my head. I felt bad. I had trauma from it because the person who the chair was supposed to go to began to roll on. I'm somebody's wife, and everything. So me that I'm not somebody's wife, chair can land on my head. Like, it made me question a lot of things. Till today, my parents don't know about this event, right? I'm like, if I worked in the bank, would this happen? No. But the thing is, there are some things that will happen that will make you question your core. Like, am I a nobody? Like, why did this happen to me and everything? But no, you remember why you're here.
The recently concluded Nairametrics Capital Market Choice Award was a perfection. In fact, it was so interesting because I myself, your host, was there. Today on the Novice Podcast, we'll be looking at the real business behind the corporate event planning in Nigeria. And who else to help us break down all of this than the lady behind the event planning of Nairametrics Capital Market Award. She is Miss Oluwatoyin, and she's the founder of Zohar Events Planning. You guys, you don't want to miss this. So, Oluwatoyin, welcome to the Novice Podcast.
Thank you.
It's good to have you on the show. In fact, have you been able to rest and recover from the whole event? Because I'm still resting, no?
Really? 2 weeks after.
2 weeks after, please.
Yes, definitely. I have rested. Okay. Yes.
So, people don't really understand, the behind the scenes of, corporate event planning. I was there, I didn't even do so much, and I was already tired. Talk more of you that was the event planner. So please, walk us through how it was for you, the glitz and glamour behind, the corporate event planning.
Just like you rightly said, people come and they see the glitz and glamour, but of course it doesn't start from there. And so I think the other thing is, while you were tired, because I'm not quite sure what got you tired and all, while you were tired, because it's our thing, we understand how this works. And for me, I'll say the secret for me is planning ahead. So I've heard people ask me, or people have asked me over time, like, oh, are you stressed on the event? And I'm like, no. In fact, I probably am a little bit more stressed days lead to the event, because for me, that's when I need to dot all my T's and dot all my I's. So I choose, and that's what I always say to my team. We go into the event ready to catch any emergencies, to catch any fire. Not that is on the day of the event or at the event, things we should definitely have done. Like, did we not know people were going to drink? Did we not know people were going to eat? Did we not know people were going to sit? Those things should have been sorted out such that, like, we actually had an incident at your event where, the VIP chairs, you had wanted some color, some numbers in white, some in black. Yeah. But my assistant had mixed that up and basically swapped the numbers. I'm like, okay, what's the time? Get them to deliver ASAP. You guys are just hearing about it for the first time, right? Those are the kind of things I need to be dealing with. Not that, the chairs have not, no, we don't work that way. So it's really planning ahead, and that's what helps us. And so, of course, when you walk backwards with setup and all of that, you can start at 4:00 with the glitz and glam that you came to see at that time.
Wow. Yeah. This is amazing because, but for people who don't really understand what event planning is, because I have a friend, she was abroad for a while and she just came into the country, and she wanted some of us who were still in the country to know she was around and to create a small get-together. So she technically planned everything herself. Okay. She went to the markets, bought some of the balloons, then added all of us. Okay, you guys start popping these balloons by yourself and decorating. And before you know, it became a very nice space. So what exactly is events planning? And, is it just anybody that can be an event planner?
Is it just anybody that can be a medical doctor? What do you think?
No, you have to go to school.
So maybe the answer is yes and no. Yes, in terms of if that's your choice and you've determined to do that and you put in the work, like go through medical school, do the housemanship, do all of that. Yes, you can become a medical doctor, right? So when it comes to event planning as well, putting in the work and what is necessary, I think for me, where it feels, because I believe there's an event planner in every family. There's always someone that says, I can do this, I can do that, and all of that, right? Like your friend now can, in fact, I think most of the event plans I've met, it started from this, right? Where, I put this together. It was a great slumber party. The reviews were great. Maybe I should start doing this as a business. So that's how some people started and all of that. So yeah, can everybody be an event planner? Yes, but excellence is a core value for me as a person. And even in my business, even if I'm going to be an event planner, how am I doing this differently? What's my unique selling point, right? How am I different from the 1001 event plans that we have in Lekki alone, not Lagos, not Island, in Lekki, because I'm like, we have event plans everywhere, and all of that. So event planning basically is actually an art. It's an art of just ensuring that an event, it's ensuring that your guests have an amazing experience. So because there's and that's the thing, if you are just about the glitz and glam, you're just about social media, you're just about I'm not quite sure how to classify. You're just about let's just say we are there.
Okay.
Let's just say that we are there. So you see events whereby you see the pictures on social media. It is great. It is amazing. Ask the people who attended that event. The experience was horrible for them. Getting into the venue was horrible. No parking space, or it was a hassle to even get in. So for me, working backwards or if you want to define event planning, the art of ensuring that everybody has an amazing experience from your stakeholders, who is the client that's asked you to plan this event, to the guests who are their own stakeholders, who is also, so part of what I list as my services when you're engaging me is stakeholder management.
Okay.
Others might not see it that way, but you as my client, you're a stakeholder. You have other stakeholders, like for the just concluded Nairametrics award, right? Your sponsors were stakeholders.
Yeah.
You, to me, stakeholders.
Yeah.
Some of your colleagues I had to work with because of the different things we're working with were stakeholders, right? Vendors, you might say because you're paying them, they're not stakeholders, but they have a stake there, right? And of course, the guest and all of that. So stakeholder management is key, and that's what brings it all back to the art of just creating an experience at the event for your guests.
So, in one word, you can say that corporate events planners are very necessary in events, because there are some big brands, big organizations that just prefer doing their things themselves, so you feel that it's very important that we should, and businesses should make use of corporate events planners.
Definitely. I don't know that I would even take you, not because I want you to give me the job, of course, give me the job, but I don't know that I would take you serious as a corporate brand that is trying to plan an event. I think you can do it by yourself. So let's take a bank. You are good at banking. Stick at that. Give the people who will do the job, because there are things that I promise you, what you don't want to do to your event is use your event and as an experience to learn. Because unfortunately, all of it is going to unfold in front of people. So like, for example, I've done an event where even down to choosing your vendors, choosing the right vendors to match the event. You cannot handle that because it's a one-off for you. That's not your line of business, right? Okay. So you don't even
What if the vendors are already a stakeholder in our business already? So we're like, okay, we're giving you a lending hand to,
Yes, but you still need an event planner to do vendor management. Are you going to have vendors meeting with them? Do you even know you need to do vendors meeting with them and do a walkthrough with them and let them know that these are this is your jurisdiction. Okay. These are the things I need you to do. Are you going to do food flow with them? No. This is a time when food needs to come out, drinks flow from when the first person walks in and all of that. Or this is your call time. By this time, this is when everything needs to be set and all of that. Like, so that's the thing, because people see, and that's where I was speaking about every family member, everybody believes that there is they are event planners and all of that. But when you go back to the business of it, the act of actually carrying it out as a proper business, the way banks do their banking, where there are SOPs, there's structure, there's how these things are done. I don't just wake up one morning and like, oh yes, we have this event. No, if you started that way, at least don't be doing that in your year 2 or your year 3 and all of that. So that's why I would even say I would not take a corporate brand serious where you feel like you can plan your event by yourself, because don't also forget you are bringing in your clients or whoever it is into your world and hosting them. Okay. And so how are you hosting them, right? That's why you bring an event planner to ensure that they have a great experience. So how can you play host and also the planner at the same time?
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? Yes.
I feel you.
Yes.
So like, speaking of handling a misunderstanding in an event, as a big brand, or even if it's a small brand, how do you manage misunderstanding? Especially, I'm painting this scenario. For example, a client comes to you, oh, hi, Oluwatoyin, I need you to work this out for me. I have a very big event coming up. And the person said she wants 200 guests in the events, and by the end of the day you use your eyes to count, and these guests are entering like 400. What are we doing here? So how do you handle that? Is there like a contract up front, or what are you going to use to hold them responsible for things like that?
So let me just say that usually happens. It's not maybe or if and all of that. And for me, like this is my 8th year of doing this.
Wow.
Maybe thank you. Initially, maybe I would not have known, but I promise you would know before the day. Okay. In conversations, in the things in your meetings, you'll be able to tell. Even for guests, for events like they say 200 people, what's the catering? How many people are, if you're doing food, if the guest size is 200, you're definitely not catering for 200. We're catering for more than 200. Okay. And you're even talking about the main guest. We have vendors, we have maybe even your VIPs and all of that. That's depending on the kind of people. Maybe you've invited government officials, or you might invited royalty. Those people don't eat outside. They are doing VIP
packaging,
VIP food boxes and all. So you're already ordering above 200. The kind of conversation that the client is having with me to not even do the right thing or enough for 200 tells me the kind of people that they are. And I've gotten to a point that I'm comfortable walking away.
Okay.
I'm comfortable walking away from those kind of business deals, because there is no way when we get to it, people are looking for, where's the planner? Where's the planner? Because you are busy hosting, being the host at that moment.
Yeah.
And it's the planner and all of that. And so usually for events, and we find that happen a lot actually with social events, right? Where people, because there's also the concept of all this mugomoya and everything. Yeah. But then from years of experience, I know serious, I'm not saying clients are not unserious, but let's just be real. I know serious clients from when I meet them. I know people that they are quite not serious. And when I'm talking about seriousness, I'm talking about they don't care about their guests. They want to give the illusion of what they are more interested in is that we spend money, that it looks good on social media. Yeah. And I've been blessed not to really have people like that, because you attract the same thing that you are in a way. It doesn't mean that you not attract some of those people. But when I say that at least the funds are there to spend, I at least push them to an extent of, while you care more about the social media, let's just at least ensure that your guests are things are set right and everything. Then you can decide, because there are people that are ready to spend 2 million on food, but 20 million on aesthetics. And I'm not joking. Like, they care more about those things and all. But for the example that you've given, 200 goes to 400. I'm able to know ahead of the time. And if it's the situation whereby they're not trying to move, I would walk away. we would have a conversation. And then back to contracts. Yes, we do have a contract that I share with clients where it is stated based on our conversation. So even when you say 200, sometimes the contract will say, you've told us that you're having a guest size of about 250 to 300. We're making an allowance for that and all. So it's clear also to protect ourselves, because you could not have worked with this number of resources saying it is 200 and then 500 people show up and then you say it's now the planner. So we try to protect ourselves. But even beyond the contract, when I can see this is already going to be a chaos, I politely walk away. I pull back from it. Yes.
Wow. You're just spilling. You
said we're going to eat the episode, right?
Yeah, eat some. But, we'll go on a quick commercial break and then we'll be right back. Welcome back to the conversation. You guys, I'm not going to let Oluwatoyin leave this place today. So, speaking of, you didn't come to our events, the Nairametrics Capital Market Awards for fun. You did not come here because we're looking all fine or because of our name and our brand, things like that. You came for serious business. So when it comes to this money aspect, how do you price? How do you charge? Is it based off of the space or the number of guests or the kind of events? How do you charge when it comes to things like that?
Okay, so typically it always comes back to the brief. So of course, we have a range in terms of, guest size. So there are some metrics that we already have.
Okay.
Type of event, duration of event, again, back to the type of event and the intricate details of the event, duration of the event, the guest size actually, which at the end of the day comes back as our brief. So depending on the brief, that is how we then charge. I'm like, okay, this is the minimum we can go, or this is the best that we can do when it comes to our charges as a team. And then also importantly, how long we are on the job. So there are some clients that, so there are some events that we do that because of the magnitude of it, so say magnitude of 5,000, 7,000, those kind of events, they usually plan like 6 months ahead. So it means we've been on the job for six months. It's not the same thing as an event that maybe we're brought on board 6 weeks. So we typically try to do minimum of 6 weeks. Like minimum of 6 weeks is when you should get us on board, right? Although, yes, we have some clients that have reached out and it's 3 weeks to the event. Maybe they felt they could handle it or something. And last minute they'll come and realize that, no, this thing is overwhelming. Please come on board and all. So those are the things that help us determine how to charge. So it's not a one size fits all. It might be the same, just like your event, same civic center, same number of guests, but totally different. You know, like your event was a production, actually. It was a live production, right? We live streamed and all. There was a live production and all. And so it can be the same venue, same number of guests and all of that, but totally different brief. And so it will not be the same fees.
So, you know, I'm just going to say this out here. Who is really to be blamed, you know, when something happens? For example, I don't know which event was that where the whole stage fell down.
Going there.
The whole stage fell down. So are they going to blame the events planner? Are they going to blame the artist? Are they going to blame the company? Who is to take the blame?
It depends on who is doing the blaming. Because the people that are coming after you are plenty. So yes, starting with the government, right? Because actually when
everybody has to take from this.
No. Like, I mean, so some of the events you just referred to, we recall about recently also there was the old stampede that happened in Ibadan. About 35 children died and all of that. Starting from the government protecting its people, they are looking, first of all, they are going for the organizer. That's the truth. They go for the organizer. As they are going for the organizer too is pulling the people that I put in charge of the event. Which takes me back to the question you had asked earlier. When a corporate entity decides, let's plan the event by ourselves, you don't know the things we are watching out for when it comes to health and safety. Of course, it doesn't then mean that mishaps still don't happen, right? But like that, those are part of things we're talking about in terms of just
make provisions for that.
Yes, and even just allowing professionals do their work. So like the stampede that happened now, what we heard is people arriving earlier than the start time. Obviously, I'm sure I'm guessing, I'm believing that they made provision for, health and safety. So health and safety comes to fire services, ambulance, Red Cross, and even presence of security to ensure crowd control and all of that. Here in Lagos State actually asked us for all of those things. We recently did an event in TBS and we had to submit all of these documents. Wow. Yes, evacuation plan, exit plan. In fact, you have to, at the beginning of the event, if you don't create a video, they'll create a video for you and charge you for it, which is housekeeping, where you're saying where the exit points are, where the bathrooms are and all of that. So depending on what each state is demanding of you, right, there's the things that you ought to do. So that's what I'm saying. A bank or a hospital cannot wake up and say, I'm doing a 1,000 event. You do not know all these things that need to be done and all of that. So like I said, depending on who is the blamer, the government obviously is coming after the organizer, right? And of course the public are like, is the
events planner.
No, actually the public most times, depending on who is organizing, like let's assume something wrong, like just choice the words now. You're going to, before you even hear is the brand that people are coming after. They're coming after the brand. Sometimes the brand is different from the CEO, just like in this case. So some people are coming after the CEO, who is the individual. Some people are coming after the brand. But obviously the government is everybody they are going to back. Because that's when they then pull up a whole lot of, you should have done this, you should have done this, you should have done that. So while some people feel like, they just collect money and everything, do those things, not just for ticking the box, right? But just because these are safety measures that are in place, should these things go wrong? Yeah.
So we have the Novice Dip, but before the Novice Dip, Novice Dip is where our audience asks questions, some of the things that we might have not really touched on. But how do you handle the whole toll, like your emotional state, your personal self as well, like, the work balance? How do you handle it after, like, let's say you've had like back-to-back events? I had someone come in earlier, for a shoot, and he said he takes January off. If you're working in the 9 to 5, you can go on leave and things like that. But him, it takes January off. So how do you handle that?
So, up until this year, that's what it had always been for me, because our peak season in the event industry usually starts from Q3, but majorly Q4. All the events are happening September, October, November, December, it's the peakest of the peak period for us. So up until this year, January was also, we have the slow months, what some people call the slow months, which is January, February, March. And I used to think January was my, rest period until January came. The event I told you we handled at CBS, over 50,000 people. It was in January. So, and we had done back to back up until we worked up until the 30th of December last year, and then we worked up until the 31st of December actually last year, and I thought January will be free for us, but then we came into planning this. Actually, that's our biggest event so far that we've done, but then I took the whole of March off. I just traveled and all of that, and most times when I take time off like that, my team too takes time off. We just go off the entire month. So it's important to find a place for balance. For someone like me, I would even say it's easy because I'm not doing events for money. I'm very passionate about it. I'll still do this if I wasn't paid for it. Okay. Of course, still paying you. I'll still do it when I'm not being paid for it. I enjoy my work. There are some people, and I count it as, as a blessing. I don't even see it as I count it as a blessing. Some people do their work, and because they get paid well from it, they've now begun to enjoy it, right? Yeah. I'm one of those people that I enjoy it so much, and then I now get paid for it. It's such a blessing. So it means that most times I don't know how to draw the line, right? So now I'm making conscious effort into ensuring that my house is a home. I don't my laptop does not come out of my home office, right? My TV is not for any presentation. I do not take my laptop to some certain places. Yeah. And when I just shut off work, I shut off work. And sometimes I don't look for, by the time we're in December, we're doing back to back, I don't look for the 4 weeks because sometimes you don't have it. So even if it's just a good night's sleep, Tolu, because there are days I do 4 hours sleep to power for 40 hours of being on my feet. Yes, that's what December does sometimes. Or even if it's a good night's sleep of just sleeping 5 hours, I just try to find that balance, and even with my team as well. Yeah.
Oluwatoyin, please. Your next event, I must be there. Okay. Even if I'm an usher or somebody, the high class usher. No worry, you pay me.
But you're tired from just being at.
So here's the novice dip. Okay. You just pick 4, and then I'll read it out for you.
I should pick 4.
No, just pick one first.
Okay, 1. Okay, all right.
I can read it for you if you.
Okay, or do you want me to read it?
Fine.
All right. Okay. What's worse, a broke client with taste or a rich client with horrible idea? I love this question. A broke client with taste, a rich client with horrible ideas. I think a broke client with taste is, because that's someone, I've met some people, they have a champagne budget. No, they have champagne lifestyle with beer budgets.
Ooh.
Yes, champagne lifestyle with beer budgets. So, a broke client with taste, they'll frustrate you. They will frustrate you. I've experienced it before. Yes.
Asking for things.
Yes. So rich clients with horrible ideas, that's why we are there. We'll guide you, and we can help make your horrible, horrendous ideas into something that, at least, even if it's horrible, maybe in terms of your colors or your choice of theme and everything, but it's when you come in, it's organized.
Yeah.
It's not bad food. Mm-hmm. It's not the experiences. And then people know that it comes back to the client. So one thing I wanted to say about events again is, when it comes to corporate events that people might not realize, you're bringing your stakeholders into your world to see you outside of your 4 walls of the
corporate.
Of your corporate entity, of what you practice. Maybe as, a financial services company that you're bringing them into, even though the Nairametrics Capital Choice Awards was still about the capital market and all, but you brought them into a different light where there was entertainment, there was good hospitality and all of that, good music. The ambience was like, ambience was great and all, but then you still did your business of the day, right? So while you still do your business of the day, we can still ensure that everything's looking okay, and I can go ahead with the remaining horrible things. But I'll choose the rich client with horrible ideas.
I'm with you on that.
All right. Okay, next one. All right. What is the worst vendor lie you've ever heard? Ever used your own money to save a client's event? Okay, these are two questions in one. What is the worst vendor lie you've ever heard? Worst vendor. Let me tell you the most common one first of all. There's traffic. That's the most common one first of all. So usually in vendors meeting, I'm like, you didn't just move to Lagos. And again, when we have vendors meeting, I try to speak to our vendors. Again, I try. So I'm this person, you might call me one-way traffic, but there's no point trying to change something if it's not broken. I use the same set of people because like I mentioned earlier, excellence is a core value for me. When I work with people and I see that excellence is who they are as a person. So it's not about the invoice. It's not about who you excellence. So there are people that I work with that they care about their business name. They care about it not being soiled. So they are not going to do things because, Oluwatoyin is going to be on our neck or Oluwatoyin's team is going to be calling me 5 times and everything. No, they first of all care to deliver what is good because their brand name is at stake. Yeah. Those are the kind of people I like to work with, right? Yeah. So because I work with them over time, I'm used to a lot of their staff and all of that. Like at the end of the day, this event goes well. I get more jobs. You guys get more jobs, right? So they are like family. So don't tell me about traffic. We all don't just move to Lagos. Traffic is
but
not...
there's traffic,
And then we work backwards. So I have a principle of we want to be show ready 2 hours to time. So if an event is starting at 4 o'clock, I hope my vendors are not watching this event, but I tell them we're starting at 2 because I need us to be show ready. Because there's something that usually happens. Everybody is just chilled and all of that. Then you feel like we have time. Then it's 30 minutes and everybody. I try to avoid that. So my principle is I'm not working with 4 o'clock. It's 2 o'clock. We have to be show ready. I don't like to do events or I don't want to do events whereby it's 4 o'clock. Guests are working and we're putting ladder up. One carpenter is still doing it because it doesn't speak.
A turn off, yeah.
Exactly. It doesn't even speak well of me. Yeah. So it's a personal principle. I actually picked it up from one of my corporate clients where she's like, no matter where we are, once it's 4 o'clock, we shut everything down. If you need to use black curtains. And I'm like, this is good principle, right? So I even learn from my clients as well. I do learn from my clients. They're not all horrible. So what's the worst? I still haven't answered the question. What's the worst vendor lie? I don't know.
We can work with
there's traffic. Yes, there's traffic. Yeah. Ever used your money to save a client's event? Yeah, to a little extent I have, but not like plenty money, but just like here and there and stuff. One thing I tell clients is when you hire me as Oluwatoyin, I automatically become a member of your team.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. Let me use you guys as an example.
I said, who is this lady? Oh my, she's just so
for me. I am a Nairametrics team member. We are one. Then it is us versus the world to deliver this event.
Yeah.
So sometimes when there are times where I don't need to get your approval to spend some certain money because I know that waiting for approval. And I'm not talking about things we could have planned ahead for, not money for food or for 400 guests. No. But like some things at that moment that I just need to release my own money for them to do and it saves the day. Please. Because we are one. Anything goes wrong at this event is not about Nairametrics. It is us.
Yeah.
So we are now one. So that's a principle I work with. So with that, and let me tell you that it's easier when you work with clients that see the value you bring to the table. Events are not, or my job, I can't work with clients that are transactional. Yes, I'm here for the money. I didn't do it for free. But when it comes down to the Naira and the Kobo, it's while I might work with you to the end of that event, I'm not so sure I'll take your job again because value is important for me. And I need you to know that it's not about the money that you paid. Yes, it's important, but it's value. I am bringing value. I can't be somewhere where I don't bring value to the table. So whether you are not paying me or not, the fact that I am on this job, my name is on this job, be sure that I'm bringing value to it. Yeah. So when you now bring everything down to Naira and Kobo, is it because we paid you this? I'm like, you actually don't know me because that's not who I am at all. So I've spent my money on to
save the day.
Yes.
Superwoman. We have 2 more.
We're doing it for ourselves. Yeah. Okay. 2 more. Okay. Yeah. Most Nigerian clients don't know what they want. True or false? Please don't out my clients. Let me answer with reverse psychology. Clients know what they want all the time. Like, right? Totally, they know, right?
They do.
Yeah. But again, so my early years, I used to complain like, this client is frustrating me. Like, why they always this, as in they're disorganized and everything. And then one day, one of my senior friends said to me, if they had you all figured out,
would they hire you? No.
So, yeah. Bring
That's
it
why
on.
you're here.
Yes.
So this is the last one. And
I've had a great time here.
Yay.
Okay. What's a decor trend you see today and you don't like? This is a tough one. Oh, a decor trend you see today and you don't like?
What of the ape? I don't know. That's monster and things like that.
Okay, so you mean general events, not just corporate events?
Yeah, well.
Okay, well, some people like it, some people don't. Okay, what I think generally, I don't like anything that is overboard. Like it's just too much. So I won't call it a decor trend, but sometimes some clients, like that's why we just, maybe it comes back to clients with money and horrible ideas and all. So yeah, but decor trend I don't like would be too many colors, too many back guys, loud and all of that. Like it can be simple and classy, simple and elegant. Yeah.
Whew. Oh wow, Oluwatoyin, this has been such a detailed and very exciting episode. So what would you say to anybody, a company, a person, a brand, wants to push out or create their own events right now? What of advice would you give to them?
So I'll say definitely hire a planner. Like we even sometimes, so depending on the event and how we're brought in, we're actually an event projects management company, right? And so we treat events like a project where we handle end to end. So I'll definitely tell you that take the stress off yourself and show up on that day as the host that you are and host your guests, in all the glamour and the beauty, no matter how serious it is, even if it's an AGM, like you can actually enjoy it yourself and have an experience. So definitely hire a planner or a project manager, of course, us, right? So hire one and start planning early. Because what I've also realized with corporate events is corporate events need sponsorship. Even if it's, whether you feel like you need the money or you don't need the money, just even for brand alignment, bringing other brands on board. And those things take time. From what I've seen through my years of planning, it takes time. Different companies plan their budgets for the year and all of that. So start early, get on a consultation call. Like once you have that idea, get on a consultation call, which is one thing Nairametrics did. Got on a consultation call. We're trying to do this and all of that. What does it entail? For a while, I didn't hear from them, and then they came back when they were finally ready. So I'll definitely advise you to do that. Yes.
Wow, Oluwatoyin, this advice is for the corporate clients. What will you tell us? Me that want to join your team, or what advice would you give to people like that?
Okay, so for somebody starting out, I would say, let me take it in 4 phases. Number 1 is, what is your why? Why are you doing this? Because if it's about the money, I promise you, it's not the glitz and glam that you see on the final day when the event is ready and ready to kick off and all of that. Event planning or event project management will test you. There are days I've slept in my car, not because there was no hotel to sleep in or there was no, it was just that it was back to back. And that 2-hour nap from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m., I just needed it. There was no energy to drive to any hotel or anything, So it would test you, It would really test you. So my question is, what is your why? Why are you doing this? Is this just another business or you're building legacy? For me, with Zohar Event Project Managers, I am building a legacy. I'm building a business that will outlive me, where you can always say, yes, when we get in touch with Zohar, you can always see the touch of excellence. So number 1 is, what is your why? Number 2 would be, for someone that's just starting, be a fixer. Try not to be a planner, be a fixer. That's one thing, that's one of the, mentality that I go with. And that's how in fact, I didn't mention this to you, but I actually never thought I'll be an entrepreneur. I never knew that I would do events. My background is in finance. Wow. I wanted to be an investment banker and just be the top of my career, just ball and everything. That's what I wanted to. And in the course of, I was transitioning jobs at some point, and then I volunteered in church. My church had a 24-hour praise thing. I can't remember and all of that. And I just volunteered. And from volunteering for it, helping them with all this. So because it was 24 hours, it meant that they had up to about 35 gospel artists. So it was a lot. And I just helped with it, right? And after that, the senior pastor came to me and said, and shout out, can I mention?
Yeah.
Name?
You can.
Okay. So, and then the senior pastor, shout out to Pastor Taiwo Bolodeoku of RCCG Joshua Vale, came to me and said, I like how you were following up on everything. I needed to join this committee. As at till now, they plan an annual concert of about 15 to 20,000 people. This is my 6th or 7th year being the projects manager for that concert.
Wow.
And he asked me to join the committee. I joined the committee, and they used to call me the enforcer. I was a volunteer. I was the youngest on the team, least experienced on the team. But when they all discussed in the meeting, I would take notes, and after all, call everybody join. Remember I said I was in between jobs, right? So I'll call everybody and follow up. Then they began to look for a projects manager. And my friend encouraged me, apply for this. You've got it. And that's how I started. So by the time I did, I'm like, people are like, you did this event, you did Night of Worship, you and all of them. Like,
I know Night of Worship.
You know Night of Worship? Yes, I'm the project manager for Night of Worship.
Wow.
Yes, you did Night of Worship, really? Then I began to volunteer for people, do it for free, because I wasn't even confident in myself. I didn't have the skill. So volunteering overtime and everything. And my friend said something to me one day, you're not taking money because you don't want to challenge yourself, because you're afraid that if I don't collect money, nobody can hold me.
Yeah.
But when you collect money, you are challenged. So do it.
Thank
you. Do it and do it well. And that's how I'm here. That's how Zohar was born. Like, I didn't get skilled. I never trained. I learned on the job, literally. And that's how I got here, which goes back to your why. So at some point when I was then going to establish as a company, register with CAC, I had to sit down with, what are our objectives? I sat with a business coach. Mm-hmm. My objectives, my mission was important to me and all of that. It wasn't always easy, right? So I didn't just jump on and like, I want to be next event planner and stuff like that. No, like, this is important to me. I'm putting my time into it. My time is my life. I'm putting all that into it. It has to be a legacy, because I can do any other job that will pay my rent, that will pay, or that will do all those things. No, but if I'm putting everything, and people still ask me today when they say, is this what you do full time? Yes, this is what I do full time. I don't do any other thing full time. So I've put everything. So it has to make sense. He has to deliver, and he has to outlive me. So it's a legacy. So I think I've gone back to your why again. So that goes back to why. It's not always as glitz and glamorous as it looks outside. Let me tell you that. I'm like, I've been a carpenter, I've been a laborer and all of that, but stay at it, you know. So I hope it helps you answer the question of, do I really want to do this thing? Because I promise you, there are other things you can do and you make good money. So think about it twice. Like, we didn't even go into horrible where clients will shout at you. We've gone for an out-of-state event before that. Chair broke on my head. So now this is a social event, right? You know, and it wasn't me. Don't worry, it's not me. A fight was happening. And by the time they threw the plastic chair, it landed on my head. I felt bad. I had trauma from it, because the person who the chair was supposed to go to began to roll on. I'm somebody's wife. I'm somebody's wife and everything. It made me feel, I'm like, so me that I'm not somebody's wife, chair can land on my head. Like, it made me question a lot of things. Till today, my parents don't know about this event, right? Because I know how they will feel about it. It made me question, like, but I'm like, no. I'm like, if I worked in the bank, would this happen? No. So I understand it's because, of course, I've taken measures. The client apologized about it. They took responsibility for it and all of that. But the thing is, there are some things that will happen that will make you question your core. Like, am I a nobody? Like, why did this happen to me and everything? But no, you remember why you're here, right? And all. I've had another event where my phone was stolen, and I did the usual Apple find. Right. When I tell you this today, I came to write a movie about this, but I won't go into. So I did the usual Apple find. I did not know it was going to lead me to the deadliest ghetto in Nigeria. My friend just told me that let's trace it, and I began to trace it. And by the time we got there, when I entered the place, like, I couldn't sleep for days. I got my phone back.
You did?
Shocking. Like, see, when you see the ghettos and everything, and then it is organized. That's why. Can I say this? The politicians, they know why they use that system. It is organized. It is organized to the core. All they needed to do was to take, because by the time we didn't know what we're walking into. By the time we walked in, so they're the good guys and then they're the bad. When they saw what happened, someone stole your phone. This is and everything and all. They just took me to the person who was the head. When I got there, like, I wasn't sure where I was. Like, but they're like, are you sure it is yours? I said, yes, come next day with the box. They need to be sure it was mine. I came with the box. I promise you my phone came out. That phone had been stolen. Sorry, it has been sold already 450K
Wow.
to somebody else. It came back to that ghetto and I was
Wow.
giving back my phone. They didn't take a dime from me.
Wow.
But the trauma afterwards, facing all that, I cried because again, on that job, the client came back and lambasted me on other things. So it was painful for me. In the period in
Losing
which
your
my phone was stolen, my SIM card, they are taking money from one of my accounts. They wiped out my account because they had put my SIM into something and it just kept transferring 20K till it was, and all of that. So I'm like, with all of this, and the client still didn't appreciate what I did. I was traumatized. I'm like, is it because, is it because of this? I asked myself, so like, it took me back to some childhood trauma that I dealt with, like, it would test you. So what is your why? But today I'm like, I beg, we've moved past it.
Yeah.
Do you understand? It just makes us
8
stronger.
years and we're counting.
Right? And all of that. So we've cried premium tears. We've laughed laughter of joy. I've gotten to a point now, respectfully, I return money. When from my head, I can see that what I've built for 8 years, you're going to help me tarnish that. The money is not worth it. I'll return your money.
Wow.
So yeah, I hope an upcoming event planner knows. I hope that was helpful, basically.
It was. So once again, the Nairametrics Capital Market Choice Award was a banger. If you missed that event, go and catch up on all our social media.
No, see us in 2026, right? It's going to be hotter and bigger and better.
Period.
Yes.
And check our social media platforms as well. So we've come to the end of today's episode. If you're just trying to pitch or you're planning your next big event, don't forget to listen to all that Oluwatoyin has listed, and your event's going to be a success. It's another episode. I remain your host, Tolu. Bye.